Welcome everyone. We are organizing this in session today when we are very excited to have two of our TPC co-chairs from BHI 2025, Hassan and Tayo. Thank you so much for being available today. The purpose of the session is to really clarify about the rebuttal phase. We are now about a week away from the rebuttal deadline for the BHI 2025 papers, and we are organizing this session to understand better about the processes, what the authors should take care of, and what are the next steps. So I would like to welcome Tayo and Hassan for this information session that the publicity team is organizing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bishal. Yeah, it's an exciting time to be here. Thanks.
So yeah, let's get to the topic. So as I mentioned, the deadline is August 6th. So we are about a week away from the rebuttal deadline. Maybe I'll start with Hassan. Some big picture about what's the purpose of the rebuttal, what should authors keep in mind when they are responding to the reviews that they got in the first round. So a bit of insights into that process, if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Bishal. So essentially, a rebuttal phase is an opportunity for authors to respond to reviews in the first phase, and also reviewers to get engaged with authors and be able to interact with them, ask further questions, clarifications, and so on and so forth. Essentially, it could be that authors have overlooked something during paper preparation, that here they can clarify. It could be that reviewers may look for new insights, new results. Authors can do additional analysis and so on and so forth. So the idea is to improve upon what authors have put together. So you can look at it as a mini journal revision phase. It's fast-paced, but essentially improving the paper and hopefully helping reviewers to improve their rating of the paper for a final decision.
Yeah, thank you, Hassan. And from your wealth of experiences with many other conferences as well as BHI, do you think reviewers respond well to rebuttal? So is for authors, is it worthwhile to put an extra effort to make sure they address each of reviewers' comment?
Absolutely. I think in general, the idea is that reviewers, get more clarification, see more results sometimes, and that would help them improve their score. I understand that, some authors of BHI 2024 may not feel like that. We didn't have a very successful experience last year, but this year we're doing our best to improve that significantly. We're hoping that with the push from the program chairs and the whole organizing committee this year, and the help of area chairs and reviewers and all that, so reviewers will actually examine all these responses, and that will help improve their scores. So you want to take this as an author, you want to take this opportunity seriously. Read the reviews, try to reasonably kind of respond to those, and if you're successful in that progress in that process, I'm fairly confident that will improve the rating of your paper.
Yeah, thank you, Hassan. I think that's very reassuring to hear for our authors to see, this extra step that TPC is doing involving the reviewers, the area chairs to make sure everybody is active during this rebuttal phase, and that's, I think, will be well taken by the authors. I would like to ask Tayo, so especially going towards the logistics part of working on the rebuttals. Maybe some of the authors are already working on it, but for the others who are looking for more clarification on the process, I'd like to talk a bit about the logistics. So let me share my screen. I would like to upload so the uploaded instruction, and maybe Tayo, you can help the authors to walk through that process. So yeah, is the instruction available view that you can view now?
Yes. So Yes, thank you, Bishal. Thank you for doing this. And just in line with what Hassan said, again, the overall intent of this is to ensure is to improve the quality of the manuscripts and quality of the overall conferences. And as it's obvious, even on Google Scholar, I mean, the rating of BHI is increasing. And I know like sometimes it's been annoying to send something to a conference and a reviewer maybe misread or something and you just get a flat reject as opposed to this second round for accountability, with the reviewers and also, the area chairs, have a say in. So, I mean, I think really this is an encouraging process, for accountability and transparency. Now, in terms of the logistics, we've tried to make things as clear as possible. There may be, if there's still any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out right away. One of the things I would point out in the screen that you have in the instructions, so you can see that there's what we call there's a review rebuttal. Either one of those will get you to the screen. So you just go ahead and click on that once you come to your author console. If you will scroll down to the next thing, and so in here, we are asking the authors to address the each reviewer. So one rebuttal per review. Keep in mind that each of the papers that were sent in for BHI have at least 3 reviews. Each paper has at least 3 reviews, and some papers up to 5 reviews. So please take the time to do one each. So then once you do the review, you can click submit. And we're also encouraging our authors to go ahead and try to do this as early as possible within the process. I know we're still a week away, but the great thing about responding to the reviews earlier in the process is that it gives an opportunity for the interaction that Hassan was talking about, because then the reviewers can make comments, and if the authors want to respond further, they can make an additional comment. So again, the interaction it will be helpful to strengthen the manuscript and also just ensure that there are no misunderstandings regarding the paper. One of the things to pay attention to, though, is that be respectful. Be respectful when submitting the reviews. And again, other reviewers on that same paper can see it. So again, I think there's this communal thing, just in terms of that will be taken account for the overall decision. I know there are few reviews that apparently submitted the wrong review. The paper, I mean, it's like the authors are like, this review does not match my paper. And the other reviewers will know. So again, even with that, still be respectful. And I'm sure the other reviewers will chip in the comments. So now step 6 is really key. Step 6 is referring to the option to submit and revised manuscript. Keep in mind that this is a rebuttal stage. Our reviewers are very busy. Please, if you make a change to the manuscript, make sure to highlight it. You can highlight it in whatever form you want with a different font color or just highlight. But that way, the reviewers can open the manuscript and know exactly where the changes have been made. And this will strengthen. So again, if you submit a review and you say you're going to do this, the chances of the reviewer changing their ranking if it's not implemented will be very, very low. Now keep in mind that we still have the page limit. So it's 7 pages. So your reviews should be the changes in the manuscript should fit that. And you don't have to submit a revised manuscript, but it's advisable too. And also, I know some authors were concerned about whether they'll get a chance to remove those highlights. Yes, for the final camera ready, if the paper is accepted, just like a journal, you'll be submitting the claim manuscript.
Yeah.
And then one more thing, in terms of the decision, no, the decision currently for all manuscripts is no recommendation because we're in the rebuttal phase. A decision would not be uploaded until August 18. August 18 is the submission, is the auto notification deadline of acceptance or rejection.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Tayo. I think that's very, very clear about what the authors are expected to do. Some follow-up questions that might arise in author's mind. about the time, like everybody is chasing the deadline. So sometimes, like what time zone we follow for the deadlines are important. For the rebuttal, are we still following anywhere an auth deadline?
No, for the rebuttal, it's PST, so Pacific Standard Time, and that should be clear on there. So if you zoom in, so this was a yes. Can you zoom in just
Let me see. Yeah, not able to do.
yes, so that timeline has been revised because we did extend to August 6th. But on the website right now, it's Pacific Standard Time, 11:59
Yeah,
p.m., August 6th.
yeah,
So again, there'll be no extensions granted to that. So please upload your rebuttal and revised manuscripts by then. And then authors, reviewers would have a chance after the August 6th deadline to still enter their final comments. So the only thing is after the August 6th deadline, there'll be no exchange between the authors and the reviewers. After the August 6th, it will be between the reviewers and the area chairs before we make a final decision.
yeah. Thank you. So I think the author should just follow their portal and look at the time that they see there. But as you mentioned, and also Hassan hinted that, it's good to not wait for the last moment, right? So start engaging already, respond to the reviewers, upload manuscript if you have it ready. Uh, and you raised a point about, Tayo, about some of the reviews probably not sending helpful or relevant reviews, right? I think a lot of safeguarding will also be done by area chairs and TPC. Is that correct? So,
Yes, yes, and I think the authors can have confidence in that. The area chairs, so area chairs each have an assigned paper, a set of papers to their pool, and just so that way they can provide oversight, and it's not just left to the TPCs because there'll be a lot of papers. But so there's that additional level of oversight and oversight and accountability, and then there's the transparency among the reviewers. So we hope that that provides confidence and assurance for the authors. But I do want to stress this though, as again, we're all trying to improve the quality of the papers and the quality of the conference at large. And at the end of the day, only certain number of papers will be accepted, right? And so that's always, how would I say, that's always very hard, you know. I think that's one of the things we learn in academia is like, because someone says no to you doesn't mean your work is not good. And so just keep that in mind with that, but hopefully the process would help, even if your paper doesn't get in. I mean, I hope my paper gets in. I hope our papers get in, but
yeah.
everybody's paper would not get in, right?
Yeah, that's part of the process. And I think even as you said, even from rejections and failures, there's some learning to do, like especially this reviewer feedback. And I've also always found it helpful, if I'm preparing the paper for my next venue, to see that I have addressed all of the reviewers' comment, even though ultimately I'm not successful in this particular venue, right? Uh, so coming back to like how to organize this rebuttal, I want to get back to Hassan and again, like when it comes to working on a strong rebuttal, right? So do you have some suggestion to authors on what makes a strong rebuttal? Do you have to address each and every question that reviewer pointed out? Maybe there are experiments that are given the timeline too long to do, or
Mhm.
what should be the general attitude and approach that the author should take?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think some of that, Tayo alluded to. I think couple of things come to my mind. One would be, for authors to take reviews seriously, um, and believe that they can help improve the manuscript and hopefully the rating of the paper. And the other thing would be really trying to read these reviews from a reviewer's perspective, rather than being biased toward, your own kind of view and as how you put the paper together. Basically, try to understand what is the comment about it. What is it that reviewers are the reviewers are emphasizing. And essentially the other thing is that this is not really a debate. So you don't want to enter into a debate with reviewers. You just want to clarify, right? So at the end, you want to make sure your paper gets accepted. So keep that in mind. Um, and the other thing would be really and you want to, as Tayo mentioned, you want to understand what reviewers mention and respond respectfully. And the other thing I feel is that some comments might be, clarification, but, some may require, as you said, additional analysis, experiments. And honestly, if I'm a reviewer and I request, additional analysis that can be done reasonably within few days, and if authors take that seriously and provide additional evidence about their claims by doing additional analysis, I'm usually very happy with the response. So these are general, guidelines I would suggest that authors follow. I know, Tayo, if there are other things that may come to your mind, but that's all for me.
Yeah. No, I think this is a very excellent point. So thank you for bringing that up. And at the end of the day, this is one of the conferences. You know what I mean? It is a great conference. We want everybody to come here, but even if your paper doesn't get in, I feel like the comments can be helpful even to for the next conference, like you mentioned. So
Yeah.
just do your best and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. So Tayo, I'll like to come back to you. So regarding the logistics, right? So after the rebuttal phase is done, reviewers have engaged with authors and vice versa. What happens after that on the TPC side from the program organization part? How does it work after that?
So for transparency, after the deadline of August 6th, reviewers have until August 12th to respond. So we do give a certain amount of window for the reviewers to respond and acknowledge that they have read the revised manuscript and the review. So and then the area chairs after that, so after the August 12th deadline, and of course the area chairs are staying engaged in that process if there's a discussion. And then the area chairs then go through based on the reviews and the discussion and enter the method reviews. And so that will take a few days. And then finally the TPC, the technical program co-chairs, come together, and based on all of that, and also the technical program chairs have to do like logistics, like plagiarism checks and things like that before a final decision is being made with respect to the papers.
Yeah. Yeah. So area chairs and then the TPCs are also involved in getting the final decisions out. And yeah, and I also wanted to clarify a bit about conflicting reviews, right? Those do happen. So maybe for the sake of transparency, do you want to clarify a bit what happens to those papers where, for example, there's no agreement between reviewers slash area chairs, right? So is it where TPC comes in, or is it something the area chair clarifies, or is something the reviewers have to, agree on with each other? How does it work, given especially the short times we have, like to sometimes come to a like agreement, right?
Yeah,
I
I
think
can.
one of the great things, if I would step in, is just that we've built a community with the area chairs and the TPCs. And so I think working with that, and I mean, staying on them throughout the process. And then where there are just conflicts at the end of the day, the decision lies with the technical program co-chairs. But again, I'll just let Hassan speak into that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are multiple lab layers,
Yes.
right? There's reviewers. They would discuss after the rebuttal phase is over. There would be discussion among reviewers and area chair and all that. So the idea is to reach a conclusion about what recommendation made to the program chairs. Um, and oftentimes, that they reach a consensus in there. But there, as you mentioned, there might be cases where the paper falls borderline and we don't know what to do. So in those cases, we oftentimes what we do, we rely on an ad hoc reviewer, quick reviewer that can provide additional kind of insights into to this. I'm quite confident we won't have many of these cases, given that um, you know, we have been able to obtain a sufficiently large number of reviews for papers. So all papers have been reviewed for at least three reviewers, but in many cases, four or five. So there are lots of data points already that provide evidence what this paper, where this should fall. So, but ad hoc reviewer, last minute reviewer could be the last resort for us to make a final call.
Yeah. Thank you for that clarification. And I think we might wrap up soon. So some of the last questions that might be in our author's mind. So some of the authors, who wrote a very strong paper and probably has like very glaring reviews, is it even worthwhile for them to, for example, do the rebuttal? Like, what should they do?
Their work is easy. If you had a glaring review, you just respond and say thank you. And maybe there may be like minor typo or whatever. Go ahead and make those edits. But then it's like great, you know. But
Yeah.
I would say respond, still respond and acknowledge that, but at least in that case, you don't need to do a revised manuscript. Again, not everybody needs to do a revised manuscript. You only do it if needed.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I think like reviewer also put a lot of hard work to look to your paper, produce a
yes.
reviews. And I think a simple acknowledgement from the authors is also, I think, goes a long way. Uh,
Yeah, another thing come to my mind is that if your paper is in all accept or something like that, which you have a strong feeling will get accepted, if there are minor improvements you can make, you might move it to the best paper candidate category. Why not? So you can always improve.
yeah. So yeah, use that additional time, whatever minor comments the reviewers have, work through it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we've covered a lot of ground here regarding the rebuttal phase. I'm sure there might be more questions from authors, and our social media channel is always open to taking questions. And you might also reach out to our TPC co-chairs. And I would like to thank you both, Tayo and Hassan, for making your time available. It was very, very insightful, especially having this interaction. Before we close off, if there is some more additional clarification you would like to add that we didn't cover, please free to do so. But I think from our end, publicity team, we are, I think, well covered. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Bishal, for doing this. We really appreciate it. I think one final comment from me would just be for authors to remember that our reviewers and area chairs are volunteers. So please be respectful and respectful. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So, absolutely. I also have a few minor comments. A few questions that some of the authors asked. One, can we go beyond 7 pages of manuscript? No, the answer is no. So the manuscript, even if you revise your manuscript, even if you add more content, you still have to remain within the 7 page limit, basically by summarizing the content in other areas. But when you add new content, there have been questions, say, can we add new authors to the list of authors? That is not allowed. So these are some of the questions that have come in the past few days. But yeah, thank you so much, Bishal. This was helpful for us. I think, I'm hoping that it was helpful for authors as well.
Yeah. So thank you again for all the hard work and effort you guys have put in for a very exciting technical program. So thank you so much, both of the TPC co-chairs. And with that, I would like to close this call.